Okay, here we're going to review a couple questions from Unit 3 on graphing parabolas and also one more factoring question. We're going to do 64 through 66 here. So on 64, this is a graph of a parabola, and this is in vertex form. So to narrow down your options here, this is already in multiple choice format like it will be on your test. We need to decide, first of all, what the scale is. Scale's 1, so this is -1, 2, 3, 4. So it looks like this is -4 for the x, and then the y looks like it's down here at -2. So it looks like your vertex here is the point -4, -2. And the parabola is going up. So since the parabola is going up, the value out in front needs to be positive. So that means A's not a choice and B's not a choice. So now the real question is, which of these equations is the correct one? Okay. Well, if you recall that the x is supposed to be the opposite and the y is supposed to be the same, so your answer should be C. Now, if you were uncertain, we could go ahead and plug this in the calculator. Now, you would want to make sure that your equations are cleared. Make sure your plot's not on, so you might have that on from previous question. So make sure your plot's off. Now let's type the equation in. 3 parentheses x plus 4 close parentheses squared minus 2. So if we hit graph, now we might be zoomed in from a previous question, so let's hit zoom standard, which is 10 by 10 by 10 by 10. So here's our graph. Okay, so that's this graph, which looks like it could be that. Remember here, we're zoomed in here pretty tight. So it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Looks like, you know, it's going somewhere in between there. So now let's change our equation to this one and see what that one looks like. Switch this to minus, and let's switch this to plus and hit graph. Oh, that's not even close to where we're supposed to be. So obviously we were definitely right there. Okay? So that's 64. If we look at question 65, another one, but this one, they give us the equation and they ask us to choose from the graphs. So let's type this equation in. Okay. So here we've got parentheses, x minus 2 squared plus 1. We hit graph, and it looks like it's going to be this one. Now, just looking at the equation, we got a positive out in front, which means it couldn't open down, so B and D have to be wrong. So then, if you look, remember the x has to be the opposite, so we should be at +2 on the x, and then +1 on the y, because the y value is the exact value. So here, we're answer C. Last one we'll review in this one is difference of squares. Remember, difference of squares, both values need to be perfect squares, and they are going to factor into conjugates. Okay? And in conjugates, the first term in each is the same. So in this case, they have to multiply together to get you x, so those are both x. The last term in each is the same, and they have to multiply together to get you 25, so those are 5s. And then the signs have to be opposites, 1 plus, 1 minus. Okay? So that's a review of graphing some quadratics and factoring a difference of squares.